Okay guys, welcome back. So today we're going to do the last assignment, which is factoring by grouping. Let us begin. The last assignment in Unit 4, of course. So we're going to start, of course this is an easy subject, we already did some of it. So let's begin. So we have the first one is factor completely. We need to factor it. Of course, we have the 6x to the power 4 minus 9x cubed minus 36x squared plus 54x. So he wants us to factor by grouping. So we can take the first two terms and the last two terms and take out the GCF. So between the 6x to the power 4 and minus 9x cubed, the GCF between 6 and 9 is 3. Because 6 divides by 3, 9 divides by 3. And between x to the power 4 and x cubed, we always take the variable with the lowest exponent. So it's going to be x cubed. We open parentheses. 3x cubed times how much gives you 6x to the power 4? It's 2x. And 3x cubed times how much gives you negative 9x cubed? It's going to be negative 3. Minus the same thing between the 36 and the 54. I think the greatest one is 12 maybe, or no. No, it's 9. It's 9. And between x squared and x means x to the power of 1, we use x to the power of 1. Okay? Oh maybe it's not, no, not 9. Not 9. We have a greater number than 9, which is the 18. Which is the 18. So negative 18 times how much gives you negative 36? It's going to be 2x. And negative 18 times how much gives you 54? It's negative 3. Now as you can see, we got the same parentheses, 2x minus 3. So you take it out, 2x minus 3. And the outside numbers are 3x cubed minus 18x. Okay? 3x cubed. Why did I put cubed up? Now, as you can see, we still can what? We can factor the second one. So the 2x minus 3 is ready. Now this one, the same thing, we take out the GCF. What's the GCF, the greatest common factor? It's the 3 and the x. So it's going to be 3x outside. Inside, it's going to be x squared minus 6. Okay? Now remember, x squared minus 6, yes, x squared minus 6. We have a 3x times x squared minus 6. So which one is the answer? The answer is the last one. Okay, 3x, x squared minus 6, x squared minus 6, and 2x minus 3. I'm sorry guys, I've been awake. This one, we did it also. We factored by grouping the a squared plus ab minus 56b squared. Okay, we'll do it. We got nothing to lose. We did it in the factoring of trinomials. But we'll do it in case, just to make sure that you remember it. So we have a squared plus ab minus 56b squared. So again, we need two numbers. Of course, we need to find, in this case, the value of a, the value of b, the value of ac. Now we can't do the square root of the first one and the second one. Why? We have the square root of the first one, but we don't have a square root for 56. We don't have a whole number that's the square root of 56. So a is the coefficient of a squared, which is 1, because we have 1a squared. B is, we take b as a number, so it's going to be b in this case. And a times c, 1 times 56b squared, is going to be 56b squared. Remember, we are using b as a number. The variable that we have is the a. Now we need two numbers. If you add them, you get b. But if you multiply them, you get 1b. But if you multiply, you get 56b squared. Of course, or negative 56 squared. It's negative. So the numbers are 8b minus 7b. you add them, you get 1. And 8b times negative 7b, if you multiply them, you get negative 56b squared. So now we found the two numbers 8b minus 7b. Because a equals 1, we can immediately put them in the parentheses. Of course, the variable is a, so the first terms are a times a is a squared, and you add the numbers that you found, the 8b minus 7b. So the first one is 8b minus 7b, which means the third one is the answer. We did a lot of practice about it in the previous assignment. Now, this one, we need to factor the expression, this one. Of course, everything here is by grouping, you see? We take two terms together and we group them. So, for example, here we have 6g cubed plus 8g squared minus 15g minus 20. So we take the first two terms and we group the last two terms. So between the 6g cubed and the 8g squared, of course between the 6 and the 8 we have the 2. Okay, that's the greatest common factor. And g cubed and g squared, we take the g squared. 2g squared times how much gives you 6g cubed? It's 3g to the power of 1, right? And 2g squared times how much gives you 8g squared? It's 4. In this case, between the 15 and the 20, of course, the answer would be 5, negative 5. So inside, it's going to be 5g plus 4, the same thing. As you can see, we have the same factor, 3g plus 4, 3g plus 5g plus 4. No, it's 3 here, sorry. Why? Because 3 times 5 is 15. So 3g plus 4, 3g plus 4. So it's going to be 3g plus 4 times the outside numbers, 2g squared minus 4. That's the answer. So it is the minus 5, the second one. Factor by grouping, the same thing. This one, guys, you need to, we just did exactly like it, so I'm going to skip it. Oh, it's the same thing here. I'm going to skip this one too. Okay, you need to factor by grouping. Remember, it's A is 30, B is negative 1, and C is negative, you multiply 20 times 30, which is 600. Okay? So you need two numbers, if you add them you get negative 1, but if you multiply them you get negative 600. Now factor the expression, let's do this one. Guys, make sure that you're using the calculator to check the numbers. Like two numbers, if you add them you get 1, and if you multiply them you get negative 600. That's for the previous question. So this one is 8g cubed plus 10g squared minus 12g minus 15. The same, we did this one, I'll do this one, last one. So we'll take the first two and the last two. Okay? First two and the last two. Between 8 and 10, what's the greatest common factor? It's the 2. Between g cubed and g squared, we'll take g with the lowest one, which is squared. Open parentheses, it's going to be 4g to the power of 1 plus 5. Again, why 4g plus 5? Because 4 times 2 is 8. G to the power of 1 times g squared is g cubed, because 1 plus 2 is 3. And 5 times 2 is 10g squared. Same thing here, we take the greatest common factor between 12 and 15. It's negative 3. And inside it's going to be the same thing, 4g plus 5. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12, and 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. Now, the common factor is 4g plus 5 times the outside numbers, 2g squared minus 3. 2g squared minus 3. So the answer is, in this case, the first one. In this case, is the first one. This one is the same thing, guys. I'm going to skip it. Remember, you take out the greatest common factor. between the first two and the last two. In this case, you only need to find the GCF, which is the greatest common factor, which means you don't have to factor, but just to find the greatest common factor for the first two terms and the GCF for the last two terms of the polynomial. So we have we have 5h cubed plus 20h squared plus 4h plus 16. So for the first two terms, right? And the last two terms. So, of course, between the 5 and the 20, the GCF is 5, because 5 divided by 5 and 20 divided by 5. Between the h cubed and h squared, it's going to be the h squared. That's the GCF for the first one. Remember, we always use the variable with the lowest exponent. In this case, between the 4 and the 16, we have 4, because 4 divides by 4 and the 16 divided by 4. The h is not common, it's only with the 4, so it's not here too, so it's not one of the GCF or a part of the GCF. So it's 5h squared and 4, which is the last one, is the answer. That's all. 9, factored by grouping, the same thing, guys.